All right, lads, what a night. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn finally stepped into the ring after years of delays, controversy, and non-stop drama. And let me tell you, it was absolutely worth the wait. No matter where you stood before the bell rang, whether you thought the fight should have even happened or not, when the gloves touched and the first punches were thrown, every doubt disappeared. Both fighters gave everything they had, and they honored not just their own names, but the proud legacies of their fathers before them. From the start, this fight was bigger than just two men. It was family pride. It was history. It was redemption. And it was boxing at its purest, rawest form. So today, here on Knock On, we're diving deep, real deep, into every punch, every controversy, every moment that made this fight so special. And of course, what's next for both warriors, after a night they'll never forget. First, let's rewind a little. This fight had been brewing for years, long before the contracts were signed. Eubank Jr., son of British boxing royalty Chris Eubank Sr., and Conor Benn, the son of the legendary Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn. Their fathers had their own wars back in the day, two of the most iconic British fights ever staged. Brutal, passionate, and full of that raw energy you can't fake. Their sons grew up under that shadow, carrying those expectations. And when the idea of Eubank Jr. versus Benn first floated into the public, it felt like destiny. But boxing is never that simple, is it? Drug test failures, failed negotiations, social media spats, the lot. It all threatened to derail the dream. And even when it got rebooked, the drama didn't stop. Right up until the weigh-ins, people doubted whether this would even happen. Eubank Jr. came in a little heavy, Benn a little light. There were whispers about rehydration clauses, about Eubank looking drained. Questions about whether he could even make the weight cut safely. Some said he looked gaunt at the face-off. Others said he looked focused. Benn, meanwhile, seemed the more energetic, more natural fighter at that moment. But when fight day arrived, both men made weight, Eubank hitting the 170-pound rehydration limit, and it was officially on. And what a spectacle it was. British. Fight nights hit differently, don't they? The energy in that arena was electric. Nearly 70,000 fans packed in, chanting, screaming, feeling every moment, flags waving, old rivalries reborn. Honestly, as a boxing fan, you live for nights like this. And then, a moment no one really expected. Chris Eubank Sr., who'd had a famously rocky relationship with his son recently, showed up ringside. Standing tall, watching his boy with pride. That was special. All the public disputes, the arguments, all set aside for one night. That's what boxing and family can do. And just when you thought the night couldn't get any more chaotic, Billy Joe Saunders entered the scene, trying to inspect Eubank's hand wraps and getting into a full-blown shouting match with security. Chaos. Absolute British boxing chaos, and we loved every second of it. Finally, it was time. Both fighters made their ring walks, both soaking up the roar of the crowd, and when that opening bell rang, it was like everything else faded away. Just two men. Just boxing. Straight away, you could see the size difference. Eubank Jr. looked huge compared to Benn. Taller, broader, longer reach. It was always going to be a factor. Eubank started well, pumping the jab, keeping Benn at a distance, controlling the pace. Benn, true to form, was all aggression. Head movement, wild swings, closing the distance. You could tell he wanted to drag Eubank into a dogfight. Round 2, Benn edged it for me. More volume, more aggression. He forced the action, and in round 3, he landed a counter that shook Eubank Jr., forcing him to tie up. Huge moment. Benn's corner was roaring, the crowd exploded. You could see the belief surge through Benn after that shot. For a moment, it looked like he could pull off something special. But, credit to Eubank. He adjusted, regained composure. In round 4, he started finding a rhythm. Sharp combinations, clean uppercuts. You could hear the chants of Eubank, Eubank, echoing around the stadium, momentum swinging back. Round 5 was razor close. Eubank controlled more of the round, but Benn landed the heavier shots, neither man backing down. Every exchange felt like it could change the fight. In rounds, 6 and 7, the size and strength advantage started telling. Eubank landed the heavier shots, and Benn, though brave, was visibly absorbing more damage. An uppercut in round 6 snapped Benn's head back viciously, and for a second you wondered how much longer he could take it. But time and again, Benn answered back, walking through fire. Round 8, Eubank trapped Benn on the ropes and unloaded. Heavy shots. Somehow, Benn stayed upright. I don't know how. Heart of a lion, that kid. Round 9 was pure mayhem. Phone booth fighting, no backpedaling, no safety first. Just two proud fighters trading bombs. During one messy exchange, they clashed heads, and Eubank Jr. suffered a cut over his right eye. Blood started trickling down, adding even more drama, and just when it looked like Eubank might be pulling away, Benn landed a huge looping hook in round 10 that badly rocked Eubank Jr. The crowd went absolutely mental. Benn pounced, throwing everything he had, but Eubank, ever the survivor, managed to weather the storm, even firing back at the bell. Absolutely insane scenes. Rounds 11 and 12 were pure heart. Skill had largely gone out the window. This was about who wanted it more, and both of them wanted it badly. Monster shots. Both ways. No quarter given. No steps back. When the final bell rang, both men raised their arms, and truthfully, both deserved to. Standing ovation, fans chanting, singing, waving flags, British boxing at its finest. When the scores were read, 116, 112, 116, 112, 116, 112. All in favor of Chris Eubank Jr., it felt right. Fair. Benn was heroic, but Eubank's control, his cleaner work, his ring generalship, all just that little bit better over 12 rounds. Afterward, the respect between the two camps was something special. Nigel Benn hugging his son. Chris Eubank Sr. smiling proudly. Even Eddie Hearn, who's never been one to hide emotions, was visibly moved. Whatever bad blood existed before, it was washed away by the war we just witnessed. Now, post-fight news. Quickly surfaced, Eubank Jr. reportedly taken straight to hospital with a suspected broken jaw. No official confirmation at the time I'm recording this, but it shows just how brutal this fight really was. Both men paid a heavy price, and now, the obvious question: what's next? There is, as many of you know, a rematch clause, tentatively aimed for September or October. And honestly, why wouldn't they run it back? This was a blockbuster success. Big ticket sales, global attention, massive viewership numbers. Saudi backers like Turki Al-Sheikh would absolutely want to double down. The only hesitation might come from Eubank himself, especially if the jaw injury is serious. But with the kind of money involved and with the pride at stake, it'd be very hard for either man to walk away. Bigger picture. There's chatter about Eubank Jr. versus Canelo Alvarez in early 2026 if he wins a rematch. Now look, let's be honest, Canelo would be a massive favorite. It could be a tough night for Eubank, but boxing is a business, and name value sells. Eubank's name, especially after a performance like tonight, is bigger than ever. Canelo. Fights are about money as much as legacy. Don't rule it out. And if the rematch doesn't happen, Benn will likely move back down to welterweight or super lightweight. The WBC rankings still have him high despite the layoff. Mario Barrios could be an option. Win that, and Conor would claim a WBC belt, just like his father once did. Poetic, isn't it? Only stumbling block there? Manny Pacquiao. Yep, the Pac-Man might be coming back for one more dance against Barrios. If Pacquiao wins, the path gets trickier. But boxing always finds a way to make big fights. As for Eubank, if he doesn't rematch Benn, he'll probably sit and wait for the biggest, most lucrative option possible. Canelo, Charlo, Munguia, names like that. But truthfully, the rematch is what everyone wants. Because now, we know what these two bring when they share a ring. And another fight would be even bigger, even better. And stepping back even further, the real winner tonight was boxing itself. Nights like these remind the world that our sport is alive and kicking, that even in an era where casual fans say, boxing is dead. Nights like Eubank Jr. versus Benn remind everyone why we fell in love with it in the first place. Family, pride, drama, guts, heart. You can't script that. You can't fake that. It's real. It's raw. It's boxing. And now I'm turning it over to you. Who did you have winning? How did you score it? Were you surprised by how much heart Conor Benn showed? Do you want to see the rematch? What do you think about a possible Eubank versus Canelo fight? Or Pacquiao versus Benn for a world title? Drop all your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading every single one. No matter what you think, I want to hear it. Let's keep the conversation alive. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a solid, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and stay tuned right here to knock on for all the latest in the world of boxing. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.